he's Tom Ackerman.
Almost Tom Ackerman. Tom is on assignment today. I'm Mike Claiborne, and we welcome you to sports on a Sunday morning, live from Jupiter, Florida, the spring training home of the St. Louis Cardinals. And we'll be here for the next 2 hours. We have a lot of things to get into, certainly some baseball. We'll get into the Olympics. How about St. Louis University? They are rocking and rolling. We'll hear from Chaim Bloom a little later. And, of course, it wouldn't be a show without Bernie Miklasz, and we'll have a chance to talk to him in the next hour. So we are glad you are with us today. As we mentioned, we're here in Jupiter, Florida at the new facility. And I got to tell you, folks, I've been in this business a long time, and I've seen a lot of things. But this setup the Cardinals have right now is it's really nice. I don't have a lot of things to compare it to. We have one down the road in West Palm Beach where the Astros and the Nationals train, and they have a very nice setup. But this one is long overdue. Let's just put it that way. And we'll have a chance to visit with the vice president of operations for this project. He's Dan Good. We'll hear from him a little later in the show and tell you about how this thing came together. It's been on the drawing board for a number of years, but it's finally come to fruition. And we're looking forward to showing you guys what this is all about. The wow factor is certainly in place when it comes to this facility. And we'll have a chance to hear from Dan Good a little later. Another day of pitchers and catchers. All the players, virtually every player is here in camp. They report officially tomorrow. First field workout is on Tuesday, and Cardinal baseball comes your way right here on KMOX next Saturday. John Rooney and Ricky Horton will have the action for you, and away we go with Cardinal baseball. So everything starts with the Washington Nationals here at Roger Dean Stadium. And by the way, there's some improvements to Roger Dean as well. So if you're coming down, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at what you'll see. Not only the facilities, but some of the players as well. When we think about players, I'm looking at the roster, and we have 67 players in camp. And there's just 3 players with 5 years of experience or more. Think about that. And the players are Ryan Stanek with 8 years. Jojo Romero has 5 years. And the other person that we had on the list, and we'll pull it up here real quick, is Dustin May with 6 years. Everybody else, Lars Nootbaar with 4. We have a lot of guys with 3 years and 2 years, but this is a very, very young team as far as personnel is concerned. And so it should be fun to watch how things unfold for them. They're going to get reps. There are jobs to be had here. I think a lot of people will wonder who's going to play left field if Lars Nootbaar isn't ready. And he's going to report 2 days after the start of training camp because of his rehab process. But there's some jobs that are open, and we'll see how things unfold there. Second base is obviously open, but I think the odds-on favorite would be J.J. Weatherholt. They're going to give him a long, hard look. Nolan Gorman will be your third baseman. Obviously, Victor Scott will be in center field. Jordan Walker, obviously, will be starting there in right field. Herrera's behind the plate. And I think one of the questions that's already been thrown out there, how many catchers will you carry this year? I mean, last year we had 3 for most of the season. And, it's going to be interesting to see how that battle unfolds, because I get the feeling that we will see Herrera doing a lot of DHing as well. So maybe they do carry 3. They could get away with 2. Who knows? But all those questions will be answered a little later in the spring and certainly going into the season. As I mentioned, we'll talk with Chaim Bloom and get his thoughts on a few things that are going on. And how about the Billikens? They're rocking and rolling. And, you think about the fact they won 17 in a row. Their next game is at Rhode Island. But I'm going to roll this out here now. The what if. What if the Billikens went out? What if they went out and they finished the season with 1 loss, maybe 2, and that first 2 rounds of the tournament will be in St. Louis? That'll be one of the regions. You wouldn't give them a home game, would you? Or 2? You put them in Illinois in the same bracket or in the same region. Throw Kentucky in there, at least you'll have people showing up to the games. And I know in this first round, the first 2 rounds, I know in some of the buildings over the last few years, they haven't sold them out. They move teams around, and a lot of fans just don't follow that first round as far as travel is concerned. So the what if factor is, if the Billikens win out, do they play in St. Louis to start off the tournament? Think about that. I don't think I've ever said that before. A, winning out, B, opening up in St. Louis. And, the tournament has never been a guaranteed annual tradition for St. Louis U. There have been some years they missed the tournament. They found themselves in the NIT or found themselves at home. But this year, it looks like things are going in their direction. So we'll talk with Chris May about that a little later this morning. We normally talk to Josh Schertz, but they're going to be in practice as we speak. So Chris May is kind enough. He'll visit with us. And, of course, he's sponsored by Royal Bank of Missouri. So we'll have a chance to talk to him. And also we'll get into some Olympic discussion as well. I don't know about you, but, I've watched a little bit. So my question to you all is, other than hockey, what are you watching? I know figure skating has been one of the big things. We see that. For some reason, curling gets some attention. So I want to hear from you on what you are paying attention to other than hockey and other than figure skating and curling. So we'd love to hear from you. You can hit us up online, and we can answer your questions there. And also, here's the other one. What Olympic event do you just don't get? I mean, you watch it and you're trying to play along with it, but you say, I don't see this enough to really understand what the heck's going on. There's a few of those events for me, especially when it comes to scoring and, what's a good jump or a leap or whatever. It's an interesting time to watch the Olympics because there are a lot of events we just don't see. We don't see them on a regular basis. So I'd be interested to see what you thought about the events that you really kind of want to put your arms around, but you just say, I'm going to take a pass on it. And then you have these new events. The host country can roll out an event. I know, like when the Olympics comes to LA, we'll have flag football. Okay. I think that's pretty much of a lock that the U.S. will have a gold medal on that front. But when you think about the winter sports, I mean, you think about people in Europe and, the Europeans and Norwegians and the Swedes are doing really well in the outdoor events, because that's what they do. They don't have baseball. They don't have the other sports. So, they found something else they were good at, and, you tip your cap to them. But, I always wonder, what events really do sell, which ones really do play. So I'd love to hear what you think about that, and we'll get a chance to get in that a little bit later. And also the NBA All-Star game was last night, or the skills competition. And I know some people have already felt like the dunk contest is no fun anymore. And I kind of get it. But the dunks that you normally see, and the reason why you see these guys in, because they're in game situations, they have, they're following up on a rebound or somebody's lofting a pass, alley-oop to them. It's a little different when you get into that sort of competition. I get it. And maybe the fact that the dunk participants are people you just normally don't know about or don't hear about, and you see him and he's like, who is this guy? So I don't know how you spice it up. I will say this, the three-point contest was outstanding. Dame Lillard won his third. Now, he won his third, and he hasn't played this year. He's dealing with an Achilles tendon rupture, but he hasn't played. And I wonder how much of an impact that has on a guy where he hasn't played. So he's rusty but rested. But he put on a clinic last night. He and Devin Booker, man, that you talk about some guys who can really shoot the lights out of it. But I think most of the participants last night were really good on that front. So if you had a chance to watch it, I'm sure you were entertained by that. At least I was. And we'll have the All-Star game this evening. I don't know about that. That kind of can get away from you pretty quick. So maybe we'll find something else going on this evening. So those are some of the things we have going on today. When we come back, we'll have a chance to chat it up a little bit more. Chris May is going to join us, and we'll have a chance to visit with him, get his thoughts not only on what's going on with SLU on the basketball front, but you have to wonder what sort of impact is the basketball program having not only on the campus, but certainly with the athletic department. I'm anxious to hear how things are faring. They have, a couple more home games left, and they're sold out. That's always a nice ring to any athletic director, sold out. So things are going well for the Billikens. And I'll run that question by you again. What if they went out? And when you look at the schedule, they have a couple of games on the schedule that you kind of want to you got to be careful with. I think, you have a couple on there, there's always a trap game there. But what if they go through this thing? Do they get a home game? Do they play the first two rounds? The first round here in St. Louis, we were going to host a regional. So that would be fun for a lot of different people because we've never seen it before in our lifetime. So let's see what happens. But, the biggest game at hand for them right now is Rhode Island That is on a Tuesday night in Rhode Island. So we'll see how things unfold with that. But it would be fun. It would be a whole lot of fun. All right, why don't we do this? Why don't we take our first break? Drew, are we ready to take our first break? I think Drew says yes. So we'll do that now. We'll come back with more. Stand by, folks. We have more coming your way in just a bit right here on Sports on a Sunday morning on the home of the Cardinals and Billikens, KMOX.
St. Louis has a voice.
KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
That voice has shared our stories from headline to history.
An afternoon programming for American radio. The program is called At Your Service.
Among those voices, Mike Kelly.
Kaufman at the 11. Kaufman hurdles man at the 5, fighting for the end zone. Touchdown, Missouri!
Working at KMOX is an honor and a responsibility to represent this community. It's one we take seriously. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. The American dream is owning your own home, especially a brand new McKelvey home. This will be your last chance to take advantage of the tremendous savings of the 6 remaining market-ready homes or our luxurious Madison display at Summerlin and O'Fallon. Also get $10,000 free cash at close and special 5.0% fixed 30-year financing. Talk to Stephen Bonfani on how you can qualify for this great offer. Visit McKelveyHomes.com. It's time to move up to McKelvey.
Italian subs for your finance team in Chicago. Easy Cater. Burritos for your call center crew in Plano. Easy Cater. Bagels for your sales reps meeting clients in Charlotte. Easy Cater. Hot chicken sandwiches for your third shift warehouse workers in Memphis. Easy Cater. Your teams may be spread out across the country, but you've got one platform to feed them all, whenever and wherever they work, with food they love from favorite restaurants. Easy Cater. Food for the workplace, all in one place. Order now at easycater.com.
At the UPS Store, we know being a small business owner means holiday time is still go time. Still get those orders shipped time. And still re-up on stamps and supplies time. That's why this upcoming holiday, while others close up shop, we'll be open and happy to help you keep being unstoppable. Come into your local store today. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, pricing, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable.
Working full-time but still falling behind? Learn how real estate education can help you build income and get ahead on your terms. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here in Jupiter, Florida at Roger Dean facility, the Roger Dean Chevrolet, right next door to us. The Cardinals' new facility is up and running. Still some construction going on, and they say it's going to probably be another maybe month or so before everything is completed, but it's operational. Everybody's trying to just get familiar with everything. It's different. There's no doubt about that. It is certainly different with regard to facilities and also personnel. The Cardinals have made a significant investment in developmental people, whether it's coaching, performance, you name it. I mean, this setup is long overdue for a lot of reasons. And when you look around and you say to yourself, man, where were we at? You know, and obviously a lot had to do with getting this facility up and running, because you had not only to work with the Marlins, who you shared a facility with, Palm Beach County, City of Jupiter, a lot of governmental impact that took place, the financing. I mean, it was all over the place. You had COVID, you had construction overruns. I mean, this thing's been on the board for 7 years, I believe, 7 or 8 years, and now it's finally here. And if you get a chance to come down, you will see for yourself. There's certain areas that are accessible that you can see the definite improvements that the Cardinals have made here. And you see a lot of people walking around with fungo bats and gloves. I mean, it's really amusing to see all these people, and they're all doing something. I mean, they're teaching and they're working, and it's just a fun setup to have. The Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith is scheduled to be here, I believe, tomorrow. I was told that Yadier Molina will make an appearance here tomorrow as well. So people starting to roll in, and it should be something to have a good time with. I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully if you have a chance to get down here, you'll see for yourself all the things that have taken place. Now, the last few days, obviously, all we've had is pitchers and catchers, okay? And so the first thing people say, well, how are we looking? Well, we're playing catch, okay? So, and that's a cool thing. But we have a lot of new pitchers, and that's one of the fun things to watch them. I will say this. We have some guys who can bring it, okay? And I know we used to be a team that pitched to contact, and we were trying to trick people, and that's still part of the arsenal. But there's some guys that really show good velocity. Now, again, they're having some live BP sessions with, some minor league kids, but it just has a different look to it. It really has a different look. I'm anxious to see what the hitters are going to look like. And, we have this one young man, Jorangelo Seja. He can throw from both sides. He throws right-handed and left-handed, and I've never seen it before in person. And he's mid-90s from the right side, easy mid-90s. Has an interesting breaking ball that goes both ways to lefty from the left side. And I'm not going to say we'll see him this year, but the Cardinals, gave up a pretty good player in order to get him in Brendan Donovan. But he certainly fits the bill of a pitcher that we can see sooner than later. Just watching him work, and I think he's an interesting young man. He's from Curacao. Speaks 4 different languages and really has an understanding. And I think the key is, because we never had a coach that's worked with a player like that. We haven't seen a player like him. So there's a lot of communication about what works for him, with regard to conditioning and using his entire body. And think about this. I mean, the glutes are working from both sides for him. And he's an interesting guy to watch. So if you have a chance to come down, maybe he's throwing a bullpen, or maybe you may see him on the backfield, take a look at him. He's not a big guy. He probably goes 6 feet, maybe 6'1", but he's not like some of the hulking pitchers that we see in baseball today. He's been an interesting project. Tink Hence looks good so far. Again, we're still early in this, and so I don't want to be too far out over my skis with regard to how a person is performing. And we may not know until the end of spring training. I think there's one thing about spring training I've learned over the years. You never trust what you see when it comes to hitting, because a lot of guys, are just working on certain things. They're seeing a lot of fastballs and things of that nature. And pitchers are the same way. Pitchers are just trying to see how their stuff plays to certain hitters. So there's a lot of things that, you want to try and feel good about. But, I try and wait a little longer because of the fact that everybody's just working on things compared to really implementing them in a real game situation. Now, obviously, the games are important as far as development is concerned, especially a young team like this, where you have so many young guys that are trying to feel their way. But when it's all said and done, when you get in the real fire, we have to see what you have and what you have to offer. And that's what makes spring training fun. It's a start. That's all it is. It's just a start. It's not a tell-all. Some guys have made the team in spring training and found themselves. And I think one of the best examples for me recently is when Jordan Walker came on the scene. 2 guys stood out. Jordan Hicks, when he had a really good spring because he could throw 105 miles an hour, and Jordan's on his 4th team now. And Jordan Walker. Jordan Walker had a really good spring a couple of years ago. I mean, he hit everything. And then all of a sudden, when the season rolled around and they started throwing him pitches that he was not comfortable with, things kind of went in a different direction. And we've seen that with other players as well. So you have to really kind of gauge, a player's development here when it comes to really assessing how this is going to play out over 162 games at the big league level. And I know one of the things that Chaim Bloom has emphasized, they would rather keep a guy in the minors longer where he doesn't ever go back. The whole shuttle thing for an everyday player doesn't work. Now, if you're a pitcher and you're trying to make sure you have enough stable arms, you're going to see some guys moving back and forth. But as a player, a regular player, you want to make sure when you're here to stay. So, I don't know if they're going to rush anyone here. I think the J.J. Weatherholt experiment will be one we'll all pay attention to because apparently he's hit at every level, and we'll see what he can do at the big league level. And it may take him a little time to get used to how things unfold. But when it's all said and done, it's just part of the process of development. And we're going to do a lot of developing here in Jupiter with all these young players. As I said earlier, I like what I see. It's very early. There's some interesting stories of guys with experience that we want to see what they look like. I'll give you a good example. You may remember Packy Naughton of a couple of years ago. He was a relief pitcher, and then he had some arm and elbow problems, was basically out of the game last year. He was selling real estate down here in Florida. Decided he wanted to take a crack at it, and he threw a really good session yesterday. His bullpen yesterday was pretty good. He faced a few hitters, and he broke a few bats along the way. So you have some guys with just enough big league experience where they know how this works. They just haven't been on the stage long enough. And I'm anxious to see guys like him. Matt Swanson is a guy who may end up being your closer. He and Riley O'Brien certainly have the tools to do that. Riley O'Brien looks pretty sharp so far, but again, it's early. So there's going to be some competition. I think the bullpen, like it was last year, was pretty good. You think about the second half when the Cardinals made a lot of deals and moved on some players. Those young guys stepped up, and most of them accounted for themselves reasonably well. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they had a chance to grow as they get into spring training where they know that they have an opportunity to really compete for a position and be on the team from the start. But as I mentioned, you're going to see some guys going back and forth because the way bullpens are used today, you're not going to see the same guys for a whole season, even starters. It just doesn't work like that anymore. All right, we'll come back and talk some more baseball a little later, but what we're going to do next is talk a little basketball, and we'll talk a little St. Louis U basketball with Chris May. He, of course, is brought to us by Royal Banks of Missouri. We'll have a chance to visit with the AD at SLU when we come back on Sports on a Sunday morning on KMOX.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could it be lower testosterone?
Lower T.
Happens to most guys after 40. I was in the same boat until I started using Nugenix Total T2.
Total T2, the new one I've seen on TV.
Yep, it's the next generation testosterone booster for both free and total testosterone. It's packed with even more man-boosting power, sending nitric oxide levels skyrocketing in just 3 hours.
It actually works?
I feel like I'm in my 20s again. I've got more energy, better results in the gym, and things are even better in the bedroom. Send them a text and get a complimentary bottle.
Text now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the #1 testosterone brand at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, absolutely free. Text AREA to 369-369. AREA to 369-369. AREA to 369-369.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Unlock a brighter outdoor space in 2026 with Chesterfield Valley Nursery. Let us be your trusted partner for all your landscaping, lawn, and gardening needs, empowering you to create a haven that brings joy and serenity to your life. From landscape design to property maintenance to our garden center, we're here for you. Houseplants, tree shrubs, organic soil mixes, gardening and plant classes, and more. Chesterfield Valley Nursery's Garden Center has what you need no matter what the season. Visit us weekdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Saturday hours start in March. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram for all class and sale updates.
KMOX Weekend at your service. Sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway. Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Discover how you can make unforgettable memories with a home equity line of credit from Royal Banks of Missouri. Whether you're dreaming of a winter family getaway, planning your next home renovation project, or considering an investment in your education goals, a home equity line of credit is a flexible and convenient option to fund life's most memorable moments on your schedule. Our local bankers are here to help you achieve your short and long-term financial goals. Call 314-212-1500. That's 314-212-1500. Visit us online at royalbanksofmo.com or stop by a Royal Banks location near you. For more details on how you can tap into your home's equity and get the most out of its current value. Investing in our communities, one client at a time. Royal Banks of Missouri, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio.
Welcome back, everybody. We packed up the studio and brought it to Jupiter, Florida, and it looks great. We have our own little setup here, and we're having a good time. And we are going to now talk to the athletic director at St. Louis University. He is Chris May, who was brought to us by Royal Banks. Chris, first of all, it's great to hear your voice, sir. Good to hear and talk some Billiken basketball. And you've been in this sports business for a long time. I'm wondering, have you ever experienced something like what you're seeing now with your basketball program?
Well, Claibs, it's great to talk to you, and I hope you're taking care of yourself down there. I know the weather's a little tough, so I'm glad you're doing well.
It's just a little bit of a struggle.
I just talked to Drew in the studio. I said, "You in Florida?" He goes, "No." I said, "So Drew's doing the work." But hey, we're thrilled. We obviously we've got a team that's flat out on a run. Coach Schertz Josh has put together the pieces of something really, really special. And we had that run, with Rick's team back in the day that was really good. This is way different. There's so many more. We've got a lot more weapons with this team that can really shoot it, and really they've ignited this community. I got to tell you, Claibs, we were up in Chicago Friday night, and it was unbelievable how many Billiken fans were in that gym. And that's
I heard that it was more of a Billiken home game than it was a Rambler home game.
I had somebody call it Chaffetz North. I don't know if that's the case, but it was fantastic, Claibs. The community and the Billiken faithful are really rallying around this team right now, and that's when when you go on the road and you've got a lot of fans, you're starting to really make a move, and so that's what's super exciting. In addition to this team and what's going on with it, you got so many weapons. You got. I don't know where you start. Trey Green leading the country, I think, still in 3-point shooting percentage. You got the shooters in Ishan Sharma, Brady Dunlop, Robbie Avila is leading. Probably his greatest attribute is that kid is just a stinking winner. I mean, he will do whatever it takes to help his team win. He had 2 points, 6 assists the other night, and made a huge influence on the game. And so they're doing it in so many different ways that it's really exciting to watch. But when you got a team that can really shoot it, it sure makes life easier in the sport of basketball.
And I would think at this time of the year, and you've been in this business for a while, practice has to be a lot of fun because there's some guys who are on a team and they know I'm probably not going to play tonight. But with this team, for a lot of different reasons, and Josh has been able to use virtually his entire bench at some point through the course of the season, I would think practice is even more fun compared to guys just limping them through the season, knowing it's starting to wind down. I bet those guys have a ball when they go out there, and I'm sure that's really something that every coach appreciates because the detail is still something that's on the mind of the players, knowing that they're going to have a chance to get in the game and have a meaningful impact.
Well, you hit it on the head, Mike. Practices are when you get better, right? And they are locked in. Everybody knows they've got a piece of it. I had Bill McCartney teach me a long time that teams practice better after wins. And when you get on a run like this, everybody's locked in, getting ready for the next one, and you can see it. We're shoot around on Friday, and they are as locked in. They have this balance. They're locked in, but they're loose. And everybody is locked in and loose. And I think that's a major attribute for Josh. I mean, Josh really pulls a team together in his way. He doesn't sweat the little things, and he is unbelievably meticulous on the big things. And I think that's part of the reason why they're having so much success. But they are locked in. I sat in the pregame Q&A before the game, and wow, did they know the scout? They knew the scout left and right. And so you couldn't hit it better, Mike. Everybody's locked in because they know they got to be ready to go in and play, and they can make a difference with the team, and they're all doing it. And it's a really exciting group to be around.
We're visiting with Chris May, the athletic director of St. Louis University. Chris, what is the impact, not only just on campus, but certainly the athletic department, is this basketball team providing for you and everybody else at St. Louis U?
Well, they drive the deal. When you've got your men's basketball team rolling like this, Mike, it is a monster impact, starting departmentally. There is an extra bounce in everybody's step. Everybody in this department is locked in, and, if the teams are in town, they are there at the games pulling for the basketball team. The basketball team is totally integrated with everybody in the department, and so that's a pretty cool thing. But everybody, it brings an extra bounce in your step. We had a Donner dinner up in Chicago Thursday night, and Katie Shields was up there, and Kevin Kalish was up there. And so everybody's really connected to what's going on with this team. And then from a recruiting perspective, all sports are bringing in their top recruits into these big basketball games and having a huge amount of success because the energy and the level by which we're playing, you got a top 25 team, you got sold out arenas, you go to the how it's changed. We're basically sold out. We might put a couple tickets on sale for VCU if the students don't pick them up Monday, but VCU will be sold out. Duquesne the week later is trending towards that'll be sold out. And then you've only got one last game in Loyola, the senior night, which that'll be sold out. And so the community, the St. Louis community, is really rallied around this team, and the campus community is off the charts. We had a large alumni group up in Chicago where there was a bunch of people from the university who drove up there just to be part of it. We had deans, we had all different kinds of leaders on the campus that went up. We had President Fazer up there. We had Chairman of the Board Engler. You go on down the line. We had Paul Meehan, our vice chair. We had everybody up there fired up about this basketball team. So you can feel a lot of energy on campus, and it really shows. You and I have talked about it for years, Mike, what really great college basketball can do for a community, for a university, and what it can bring in energy. And that's exactly what's happening right now. And we're working our tails off to take advantage of it and to put this team in the very best position they can going into March.
So that leads me to the next question. Okay, I'm going to play the what if factor here. What if you went out and those first two rounds, the games can be played in St. Louis? How important would that be, and how realistic do you think that could be? And you've been in this business for a long time, but I think it would be hard for the NCAA selection committee to send a team that's only lost once or twice in some far desolate place in the world to play in a tournament when they can sell out a building in St. Louis. You put St. Louis, Illinois, maybe a Kentucky, somebody like that in the same area, and I can guarantee you're going to have the place sold out. So what if St. Louis U wins out? Is that a realistic approach to look at and say, maybe we do play in St. Louis?
Well, Claibs, I'm going to try and not give you the coach speak that we're just worried about Rhode Island, which we are. Okay, so I got to give you the, you set.
Yeah, okay, that's the disclaimer. Okay, I get it.
Okay.
You roll that out there.
However,
because
if your assumption were accurate, which God bless it, we are praying like crazy and hoping that it is, there'll be a great shot. Let's face it, the tournament committee that puts the tournament together, they like storylines. There wouldn't be a better storyline than Robbie Avila and Josh Schertz and the Billikens in St. Louis. You can look at all kinds of brackets over the years that they look favorably at big time runs with teams. So yeah, it's a fun thing to talk about, an exciting thing to talk about, and there are many that didn't think we'd be 24-1 short of a prayer that got hit in Palm Springs, or we'd be 25-0. But, this team is certainly special. There are a lot of eyeballs watching this team, both on the committee, in national media. You've got Jay Billis, you've got Lenardi, you've got everybody really paying attention to the Billikens right now, Rothstein. So we're getting an ample amount of exposure and support on a national basis. And I am very confident that the committee is well aware of the Billikens and what we can do to help them sell a great tournament. Let's face it, the NCAA tournament is a compilation of a bunch of storylines and how they put those pieces together to make it the greatest tournament that we have in our country on an annual basis. So they're well aware of what's going on out there. And we wouldn't be more happy and proud to be right here in the city. But again, we've got a lot of work to do. But if your assumption's right, it wouldn't be that far-fetched for sure.
Well, I think it's just a fun conversation to have because we've seen since they went to the pod setup, there are a lot of first round buildings that aren't full because they move teams around. And, I think it'd be great to see that building full. And it would be SLU fans, obviously. And if you get Illinois and some other teams that travel well, I think that would get off on the right foot for a lot of reasons. But also this. When does the campaign season start for conferences to talk about how many of their teams should be in the tournament? And I was listening to someone the other day talking about the SEC and how many teams they're going to have. What do you think realistically might be the number for the A-10? Obviously, the tournament winner goes, but I think SLU is a lock to be in it anyway. But how many other teams do you think might have a chance to get in?
I think you've got another 2 or 3 teams that nobody in Division I would want to play in the NCAA tournament. Mason's lost a couple games. They're scary. The really, really gifted and talented team is VCU, and they're coming to Chaifetz Arena on Friday. And so, we got to find a way to win at Rhode Island. But VCU is flat out legit. VCU is a really, really good basketball team, and they are highly talented. I think they've won 8 or 9 in a row right now. VCU is a very gifted basketball team, but there's several that certainly nobody would want to play in the first round. But to answer your question, the lobbying started about January 1. And so it continues. But I always say the best lobbying you can do is just keep winning ball games. Keep winning ball games.
Yeah, just show up and play.
But VCU can flat out play. VCU is on paper as good as anybody. And so they're highly talented. George Mason, really good. The one that nobody talks about is GW, and they took us to the wire, and Robbie had to hit that big 3 with a couple seconds to go to beat them. But, GW is very, very talented as well. But VCU, they could do some damage come March, and nobody will want to play them. But we're fired up that they're coming to Chaifetz Arena, and we're going to have one excited crowd. We invite everybody to get in there early. It's a 6:00 game. It is going to be full to the gills, and Chaifetz Arena will be rocking on Friday night. But again, we got to go to Rhode Island. Team leaves today, and
handle your business in Rhode Island.
But the other piece.
Well, listen.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead, please.
I was just going to say, when you get on these runs, as you know, every game gets bigger and bigger. And that's exactly where this team is. And every game, there's more and more pressure. And that's the exciting part about sports. And it's the exciting part about college basketball. And we couldn't be more proud to have KMOX spreading the word over our country at night for our ball games. It's great that I hear from people all over the country listening to Rammer and Earl. And we're going to recognize those 2 guys a little bit Friday night to make sure everybody knows that we've got the best tandem in the country, without a doubt, in the radio spot.
There is no question about that, Chris May. Hey, thanks for your time this morning. Enjoy the run. We'll be paying attention from here in Florida, and hopefully we'll have those first round games in St. Louis with the St. Louis University Billikens taking the floor.
You got it, Claibs. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care, my friend. He is Chris May, the athletic director at St. Louis University. Stand by, folks. We will come back in just a bit here on Sports on a Sunday Morning. We're here in Jupiter, Florida, the home of the Cardinals spring training. Guys are out playing catch as we speak, and we'll tell you a little bit more about what's going on here. Also get into a little Olympic talk. I rolled a question out earlier, which sport do you want to try and put your arms around, but you just don't get it? And we'll talk a little hockey as well. So we'll do that when we come back right here on the voice of the Cardinals and St. Louis University Billikens, KMOX.
If you're struggling with weight and frustrated with dieting each and every year, Mark Patrick Hypnosis can help. Join the over 500,000 people who have attended Mark Patrick Hypnosis with great weight loss results. Mark Patrick Hypnosis will be in St. Louis on Saturday, March 7th.
Totally changed my life.
It's amazing. I don't have any cravings. You want to quit, but have found it impossible? This is the thing for you. I have absolutely no craving. It's the darndest thing I have ever seen in my life.
It's not for entertainment. It's for results.
Do it. It works. Period.
You've tried everything else. You need to come and try this.
After this hypnosis, I want to eat good food.
Since August, I can honestly say I have not had one potato chip.
It was life-changing for me.
And I don't think about dessert.
Only $59.99. Lose all the weight you want. 100% guaranteed. Saturday, March 7th at the Residence Inn by Marriott, St. Louis Westport in St. Louis. Weight loss hypnosis, 11 a.m. Registration, 10:30 a.m. Attend this program and find out how the power of hypnosis can help you achieve your weight loss goals. There's limited seating, so get there early. Learn more at markpatrickseminars.com.
Barnes Jewish Hospital and WashU Medicine physicians have long been leaders in heart and vascular care. Now, we're taking the patient experience to another level by opening our new state-of-the-art patient tower, designed specifically with heart patients in mind. By combining the latest technology with thoughtful design and private rooms, heart patients can experience faster healing, reduced stress, and improved outcomes. Learn more at barnesjewish.org/heart.
St. Louis, get ready. One of the most powerful voices in country music is coming to the Dome at America Center on March 7th. Zach Bryan, live in concert.
It'll be fun, but those blood, I'm telling you, baby.
With the songs you know by heart.
You can see now.
One night, one stage, an unforgettable night of raw, honest music. Tickets available now at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
How many of you think taxes will go up in the future? And if they do, who will get hit the hardest? Maybe it's you, headed for retirement. You've been saving in that 401k or IRA, and that money has never been taxed. And Uncle Sam is looking at that account like it's a big, juicy steak. What can you do about it? Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Thursday, February 19th or Tuesday, February 24th. They believe a financial plan is not a retirement plan without a tax plan. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. Reserve your spot today by calling 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio.
Welcome back. We packed the studio up, and it's down here in Jupiter, Florida, where the Cardinals are undergoing a workout as we speak. The hitters are here; they're in the cages. So we've expanded the batting cages, double the size of them, so guys can go hit all day and all night if they choose to. The pitching lab is in full swing as well. They have added a new weight room facility, a performance facility that has every kind of contraption you can imagine, and they have the pools and the whirlpools, and trainer's room that's actually big enough to house a small family. I mean, space is something they are not short on. The clubhouse is significantly improved. We were talking the other day, I think it's like 6 of us here that were in St. Petersburg when the Cardinals trained there many moons ago. And just looking at the size of the clubhouse then compared to the one now, I mean, it's massive. I mean, I think they said I think you can put maybe 60 players in this one clubhouse. I mean, it's big. I mean, they've done it right, and they're still working on it. So, and those are a lot of things you probably won't see behind the scenes. But just to let you know, the players are overwhelmed by what they have to work with. And for a lot of guys, this is their first spring here in St. Louis. And I'm saying to myself, well, you should have been here last year. And it wasn't bad, but, obviously you kind of grow out of some things, and they made some improvements. And we'll talk more with Dan Good later. He was kind of one of the ringleaders of this thing, and he and John Mozeliak many years ago threw this on the board, and we finally have what it looks like a pretty nice facility here in Jupiter, Florida. Hey, I'm going to get back to the Olympics for a minute. I was going to talk hockey, and obviously hockey is big with the Olympics, certainly here in St. Louis. Team Canada is playing the French as we speak. The Americans play the Germans later. That could be a very interesting game. The Germans have some pretty good players, starting with Leon Draisaitl. What do you think so far? I mean, I don't know how much hockey you've had a chance to see. It's kind of gone according to plan. I think the story is not the men, but the women. The U.S. women's team is like they're annihilating teams. I mean, they are just beating the tar out of everybody they face. I think, 26 goals to 1 they've scored so far. And these games aren't even close. When they faced the Canadians, that thing got out of hand so quick. I know it was really a shocker to the Canadians, but the women's team might be as good of a team as we see, period, in the entire Olympics and what they've been able to do. And that doesn't mean that the other teams aren't good. It's just that these women have really taken this to another level when it comes to women's hockey in the Olympics. And it's fun to see so many players. And now they have their own leagues now, and you can see the skill level really improving. And as far as the NHL is concerned, they have to love what's going on. Although we lost a good player in Fiala the other night, he's going to be done for a while. But overall, it's one of those things that this is what the league needed. This is what the sport needed. And the question is, how does that work for other sports? And we were just talking earlier about the NBA All-Star game, and they're trying to trick that up a little bit. The WBC in baseball, how does that work? I mean, the risk that come into play with regard to an injury, and now we're seeing some players that can't participate because of insurance issues. They won't be insured because of a previous injury. So you won't have the best of the best. But, we're seeing sports now trying to find other ways to get more people engaged other than just a regular schedule in their championship. And what we're seeing with the Olympics is, it couldn't have come at a better time. You play off of last year, the Four Nations event, that was a success. Now you have the Olympics that's gotten off to a great start. And the other sports are trying to find that gap. I mean, the NFL, the Pro Bowl, I mean, really? I mean, we're going to play flag football. I mean, there's got to be something else to do to create that extra interest in trying to really grow your sport. So that's something that I think everybody's got to step back and figure out, where do we go from here? And certainly the Olympics has come at the right time for hockey. But I'll go back to my other question. In watching some of the events, and again, there's some of these events I don't see a lot, and I don't see them, and I also don't get them. But, apparently somebody thought it was a good idea to have some of these events. So I was wondering, and you can text us, whatever, let us know which one did you try and watch and you just kind of shook your head. I'm sorry, I don't get it. And I know every woman loves a figure skating. I think it's cool. It's not the most favorite thing. I'll tell you what I like is the short track speed skating. I think that's a lot of fun. The long distance deals, guys out in the forest, for a couple of hours, skiing. I don't know if that's something that I would be excited to be part of, but I guess it's pretty cool, especially as I mentioned earlier. We take our sports, be it football and baseball and basketball, we kind of take it for granted that everybody in the world plays it, but they don't. So they had to find other activities, and they found some that they're pretty good at because we obviously have our own thing. But it's a fun time to see everybody coming together in the competition. And, you know, the heartache, man, you know, when you see some of these people like the young man who was bound to be a gold medalist from a figure skating standpoint. He took 2 falls in one event, and he was the golden child. And now, you know, as he said himself, he said, hey, I just blew it. And you think about all the training and the practices and everything that goes into it, and you get the one opportunity and you come up short. And all you have is 4 years to think about, you know, do I want to do this again? Because it's a demand. I mean, it's like any other sport. I mean, the training that goes into it and all the countless hours that you have for that one crack at something, it can really wear on you. And we saw that earlier this week. And let's hope we don't see many more Americans go down in that fashion. But it's tough. Somebody's got to be a gold medal winner, and somebody's got to finish last. And you want to make sure that you're not the last person. As I was looking at the medal count, Bulgaria has a medal already. Brazil has a gold medal. Think about that. Brazil has a gold medal already. And then you see some other countries, it's just like, what are we here for? It just doesn't work. All right, coming up in the next hour, we're going to have a chance to visit with Dan Good. He's the Vice President of Special Operations for the Cardinals. He is the gentleman who kind of oversaw the development of this new facility here in Jupiter. We'll talk with him on how that thing came around. Matthew Liberatore is going to visit with us along with Chaim Bloom and, of course, the Bernie Miklasz. He's going to join us later in the 11 o'clock hour, and we hope you'll be with us as well as we'll break for the news and come back with more sports on a Sunday morning from Jupiter, Florida, here on your voice of the Cardinals and Billikens, KMOX.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey, and I think right now we all need something to look forward to, and a nice little getaway is going to do it for me. So I've been looking at this 5-day Arizona trip that I planned in September, and to me, it sounds absolutely perfect, and I would love for you to join me. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to stay in Flagstaff because that means cooler temperatures. It's a great home base, and from there, we're going to visit Sedona, the Grand Canyon, and Lake Powell all in one trip. I'm talking about red rocks, big views, and that deep blue water at Lake Powell that looks like a postcard. I'm told September is one of the best times to go with fewer crowds, more comfortable weather, and everything's going to be planned out for us. We just show up. If this sounds like something you'd like to do, please join me because I have always wanted to go to the Grand Canyon. Travelwithdebbie.net. That's travelwithdebbie.net or call Cruise and Tour at 800-383-3131. Space is limited, so don't delay. 800-383-3131. Travelwithdebbie.net.
February is the month of love, and this year it's time to fall in love with your home again. Imagine warmer rooms, quieter mornings, and cozier spaces you actually enjoy spending time in. At Renewal by Andersen, we don't believe all windows are created equal. Our exclusive FiberX material is stronger than vinyl, resists warping in extreme temperatures, and delivers superior insulation, helping your home stay comfortable, quiet, and energy efficient all winter long. That means fewer drafts, less outside noise, and a home that simply feels better. And because Renewal by Andersen handles everything, from custom design to professional installation, you get a seamless experience and results you'll love for years to come. Right now, for a limited time, buy one window or door and get one window or door 40% off. Plus, enjoy 18 months with no money down, no interest, and no payments. This February, give your home the upgrade it deserves. Call 877-WINDOWS or visit renewalbyandersen.com today. Renewal by Andersen. Superior products, exceptional service.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
Democrats say are a must to continue funding Homeland Security. One example from Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer on CNN's State of the Union.
Just look at every police department across the country. They don't walk around in masks. They don't walk around unidentified. Every police department is identified. In New York City, you see the name right on the breastplate, and the police are fine with that. So that makes no sense what they're saying.
But Border Czar Tom Homan tells CBS's Face the Nation the polarizing nature of immigration enforcement puts officers at extreme risk.
I don't know of another law enforcement agency in the country that has an 8,000% increase in threats. Just yesterday, the director of ICE, his wife was filmed walking to work.
Coast Guard members and TSA staff are not getting paychecks. ICE officials and officers are because they're funded separately. Secretary of State Marco Rubio's foreign trip includes a stop in Slovakia, where he met with the president and prime minister today. For a second day, he's tried to reassure European leaders that the U.S. is not an adversary.
I see it reported yesterday in some places, the Europeans are very upset. They're going to be less dependent on America now. We don't want Europe to be dependent. Now, we're not asking Europe to be a vassal of the United States. We want to be your partner.
It's been a rough weekend for Americans that were heavily favored to win the gold at the Winter Olympics. First, a devastating performance from skater Ilya Malanin. Today, a disappointing 11th place finish has skier Michaela Schifrin out of the running for a medal in the women's giant slalom.
It's never guaranteed in slalom. These gates are so close and so tight, and the precision that's required is... it's just hard to describe.
Italian skier Federica Brignone took the gold. Schifrin says it's not as if she didn't deserve to win. Schifrin is due to ski again in the slalom event coming up on Wednesday. The search for 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie and the man believed to have kidnapped her is in its third week, with law enforcement tracking down thousands of tips, but still coming up empty. Ed Smart's daughter, Elizabeth, was kidnapped back in 2002 before being found 9 months later. He talked about it on ABC's This Week.
My heart goes out to the Guthries. This is so, painful and so difficult to deal with. It's like this open wound that you can't stop.
The Pima County, Arizona sheriff says both he and the Guthrie family believe Nancy Guthrie is still alive. He says someone somewhere knows where she is. This is CBS News.
Go to the ends of the earth, half a world away. Reach for the stars.
If I take time to think, they might go get Brad.
On CBS, Sunday morning.
At 11:03, we have cloudy skies, 50 degrees downtown at the Arch. Good morning. I'm Stuart McMillan. Here's what's happening. A homicide suspect is dead following an overnight standoff with Jefferson County SWAT team at a Festus hotel. Detectives tracked the man to the Holiday Inn Express in connection with a woman's death in Fenton. After hours of negotiation, the suspect died after shooting himself inside his room. It happened early this morning. Sheriff's office says no shots were fired by law enforcement during the incident. The hotel was evacuated for several hours. A man who rammed his head into a metal screen during police transport to a hospital has since died. St. Louis City Police Department's Force Investigators Unit is taking a look at the 29-year-old Mark Smith's case. Officers were called to a disturbance in the 400 block of South 15th on Thursday afternoon. They found a security guard detaining Smith. He was allegedly combative, acting erratically and yelling. Believing he was in need of medical attention, city police called for an ambulance, but were told one would not be available for quite some time. So the officers decided to transport Smith to the hospital in a marked police van. Medical personnel found the man unconscious when he arrived. Smith died on Saturday. Kansas City police are searching for a woman caught on video setting fire to a warehouse Thursday night. The building was previously considered as a potential site for the ICE detention center. Surveillance video shows the suspect throwing a spray can and using a lighter fluid to ignite the blaze. The property owner said they had already withdrawn the site from detention center consideration. The arson follows recent moves by Kansas City officials to pass moratoriums against such federal facilities. Bomb and arson detectives are investigating, but no suspects are currently under arrest. St. Louis County Police still working on that dog theft case in Fenton.
Workers at the Fenton Petland store say two women walked off with a 13-week-old Bishapoo puppy Wednesday afternoon. Surveillance video shows one of the women stuffing the apricot white dog into a large handbag. The animal's head can be seen peeking out of the top of the bag as the duo exits the store. The women also had a baby with them. If you know anything about the stolen dog, contact St. Louis County Police at the Fenton Precinct. Brad Choate, KMOX News.
And we have a photo of that white apricot dog at KMOX.com. Also, contact information for investigators. Weather for today, a high around 61 degrees, much warmer. Clouds giving way to sun at some point, still cloudy right now. Low of 40 tonight, high of 70 for tomorrow. Partly sunny skies and warm. Tuesday, mostly cloudy, still warm, breezy in the afternoon, a high of 68. Could set records on Wednesday and Thursday for the high temps. Right now, 50 downtown with a cloudy sky. I'm Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio.
Welcome back, everyone. Hour number 2 is underway as we continue with sports on a Sunday morning from Jupiter, Florida. Our next guest we had a chance to visit with earlier in the week, Matt Pauley and I, in our Countdown to Opening Day show here on KMOX and certainly on the Cardinal Radio Network. We had a chance to visit with Dan Good. Dan Good is the gentleman who kind of oversaw the project here in Jupiter, Florida, where the Cardinals' new facility is brand spanking new. We had a chance to visit with him and talk about the process of getting this thing underway and now nearly completed.
Alongside of Mike Claiborne, I'm Matt Pauley. We're happy to welcome on right now Dan Good, Vice President, Business Development with the Cardinals. We're going to talk a little bit about what's been going on down here in Jupiter. A lot of work to get this facility put together. Dan, great to see you. I got to think for you and everybody on the staff, just great that baseball things are happening after so much work went into the facility.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's very exciting. It's been a long and winding road to get to this point, going back not just to the start of this facility back in '98, but just from the design and concept of it beginning, believe it or not, a little over a decade ago.
Yeah, that was one of the things I thought it was about 7 years ago, but I knew the plans on the wall. Then you had COVID, then you had labor issues within the county. You had a lot of different things that unfolded, and now it's finally here. So for our listeners, give us an idea of how much was done, because not only in the ballpark, but certainly on the backfields as well.
Sure. So taking a step back, I had to go back to my camera roll on my phone to kind of remember, but we had taken a due diligence kind of research trip out to Arizona back in 2015 to visit some of those facilities, which at the time were kind of the latest and greatest. And so drew some inspiration from that visit. We went through a design process, not to walk you through everything, but to your point, it took us till about 2020 to where we felt like we were ready to go. And then we ran into COVID. So, the other issues we had when we came back after COVID is that there were supply issues and costs had gone through the roof, and it just didn't become feasible for us to achieve what we had originally designed, which was really a tear down and rebuild of the entire building, which made everybody nervous to try to get that rebuilt in 10 months. And so we are today, which is a heavy renovation of the existing building, which is about 40,000 square feet, and the addition of really 3 new buildings, one being a 13,000 square foot performance center, which is a shared gymnasium, hydrotherapy, training, everything there, and then a new dining and meeting building, which is a multi-purpose room, and then indoor-outdoor dining, and then a new 6-bay batting tunnel. So that combined, we now have 9 indoor batting or pitching tunnels, however you want to consider them. So, and they're wired with every latest and greatest piece of technology, force plates, and all the tech that comes along with it.
You know, I was thinking this couldn't have taken place in 10 months in St. Louis. Fortunately, you had good weather most of the time, and I think that was obviously a plus. Is this the biggest undertaking we've seen in Palm Beach County, other than when you see them building a strip mall or a housing development?
It's definitely up there. I think the convention center would probably be something that was bigger in its scale and dollars, but I think it's a top 5 project. And I'll say that the 10 months from the time we would design this, whether it was going to be a complete tear down and rebuild or what we've done today, it made everyone nervous. But the goal all along was to not miss spring training, to not leave the town of Jupiter. At one point, believe it or not, we were exploring a spring training in Vero. At one point, there was a contemplate that we'd have to put up temporary facilities in our backfields and lose backfield training while this was being built, which ran into all kinds of other problems, not just cost, but Florida wind, codes that we needed to reach. So it was very complicated. But I would say that the project on its own is definitely a top 5 project in the county.
The building we're in right now was able to be essentially reimagined because some of the stuff that was in it goes into other buildings. That had to be fun as well. You didn't have to tear this building down, but in many ways, this feels like a new building as well.
Yeah, thanks. And I will say, go back real quick before I address that, it's just saying the 10-month window would never have happened without just the cooperation from everybody. I mean, that's from the county to the town of Jupiter to the Cardinals and the Marlins coming together at every level, legal, finance. It's been a real team effort, and I've enjoyed it, and we work well together. As far as the building, we wanted to basically maximize the footprint the best we could, but give it a feel, make it feel like it wasn't just the same old building. So we wanted to so we were able to replace the workout and the training area. So we gained all that space, and as well as multi-purpose room, and never really had dining. We only had a food truck, and we had tents and outdoor places for people to eat. But in gaining all that footprint, we've now got what I would call a very professional level production portion of the building where you guys are, as well as the best, I think, nutrition and what the players are looking for performance, and now a performance center that they can walk into and feel. I've been reading and trying to look at some of the faces of the guys as they've come in. I haven't talked to a lot of them, but they seem very happy.
Well, when you get to know them, let me know, because there's a lot of people walking right here I don't know either. Talk a little bit about what's inside Roger Dean Stadium, because there's some improvements that have taken place in there as well.
Yeah, thanks. So I think the biggest ones that will catch people's eye are the left field. There's a two-level, we're calling it a third base bar. It's really the Jupiter Medical Champions Club is how it'll be branded, but we've called it third base bar during the design process. And that's got the ability to be sold to groups, to season ticket holders. It can be done up in a bunch of different ways. So we're going to play around with that this spring. It's going to have all the bars and food and TVs. We're hoping it'll be a nice place for like March Madness games during like spring training games. That'll be the biggest eye-catching thing. I mean, we've got brand new Wi-Fi throughout. We redid the press box.
How about
we did. The elevator is going to get a facelift. Yes, okay. But we relocated the team store out to the curbside, and with that, we were able to gain more office space for Mike Bauer and his staff that are here year-round. So those would be the biggest things. We're going to continue to improve. This project's not done until November 1st, so we're going to be doing new seating. There'll be new roofs that go on. And it really was a phase 1, 2, and 3. And phase 3 will start in April when we finish up spring training. And a lot of the work will be more stadium related. We needed to get the teams functional and operational. So we've got our eye now on doing the same level of work for the stadium.
For you, as you look back on this project, how many gray hairs have you acquired? And what are you most proud of about how this thing has come together?
A lot of gray hairs, to answer your first question. It has definitely been a test. I think this is the rewarding part, is to seeing people come back in and be surprised. I've gotten some comments like, I saw it on paper, but I didn't think the scale of it would be what it is, or it really feels professional. I mean, the goal always, again, I said earlier, was to deliver back baseball and not ever leave Jupiter or Palm Beach County. And I think we've accomplished that. I think that we're going to be here. Everyone's safe. Everyone's able to do what they need to do. We have a few more bells and whistles and things to tidy up. That'll be happening actually in overnight work. Right now, we've got a security team coming in, and there'll be spots and places that we do some overnight work. So you'll see improvement continuing through spring training.
Did you have to go to school on like baseball tech, because pitching labs and the technology and the hit? I mean, how much were you involved with that side of it, which is so important for this team getting players to where they want them to be?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, it's a team effort. So I really worked closely, and going back to Mo was really my right-hand man in kind of the design process back. And then when it came time to implement this technology, I just went right to the source, right to business, baseball operations. And, as you guys have seen, the technology is always changing. So what we tried to do with the batting tunnel in particular was to future-proof it, for lack of a better term, which is to basically provide conduit and data runs and power to accomplish what they want to do now, today, or what we don't even know they might want to do 2 years from now. So I defer to the experts on the technology. I've learned a lot. Yeah, but I don't hold myself out to be the expert on that kind of stuff.
Dan Good, he is the Vice President for Business Development with the Cardinals.
Development.
Yeah, for sure. Congratulations on you and your team and the entire organization. This is really a cool facility.
I have one more question. How many people were actually working on? Because I've been here in Jupiter since January. I've never seen so many hard hats walking on one piece of property in my life. So what was it? What was the manpower number?
Well, actually, so when you asked that question, my mind went to like the team behind the scenes, which I can't list everyone and name everyone, but they know who they are, and I thank them genuinely. But the amount of hours, whether it was legal, architectural, engineering, all the things you need to do to get to this point, the town of Jupiter agreeing to work with us in real time on permits, and Palm Beach County there all along. We can't thank the team enough. I don't know the total headcount, and quite honestly, it changes all the time. But countless numbers of subcontractors that were worked with in all kinds of different specialty areas. But I'd say at one point about 10 days ago, I was standing here, I just sort of looked around, and I probably had eyes on about 200 people on one day.
That was a number I was thinking too, because I rode by here one day and I couldn't count. I never seen that many people on one piece of property in my life that were actually working like that.
And they're night shifts. I was here late the other night, and there's still guys working well into the night, and they will be. So, it's been a real accomplishment just to be back to be playing baseball.
Thank you so much, Fred. Congratulations again.
Yeah, thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
It's a great time, if there's ever a great time, to purchase a furnace or an air conditioner. I know it's winter. We got some great pricing. You can get 0% financing. So if you have been told that you need a new furnace, definitely give me a call. I could probably save you lots of money. Get a second opinion. Call me. Next day installs for your furnace so you won't be without heat very long. A furnace average install about 2-3 hours for a furnace. So not a big issue to do it now. And like I said, great pricing. So if that's you, call me. It's Bart Inman. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois. Just the easiest number. And there's one. 314-293-2600. Again, 314-293-2600. Or on the internet, it is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Dreaming of college but worried about the cost? The Together Foundation is here to help. The Together Foundation is awarding 5 $1,500 scholarships to St. Louis area students who are ready to take the next step toward their future. Applying is simple, but time is limited, as applications will be accepted through March 31st. Learn more or apply at togethercu.org/scholarship. That's togethercu.org/scholarship. This community message has been brought to you by Together Credit Union.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could it be lower testosterone?
Lower T.
Happens to most guys after 40. I was in the same boat until I started using Nugenix Total T2.
Total T2, the new one I've seen on TV.
Yep, it's the next generation testosterone booster for both free and total testosterone. It's packed with even more man-boosting power, sending nitric oxide levels skyrocketing in just 3 hours.
It actually works?
I feel like I'm in my 20s again. I've got more energy, better results in the gym, and things are even better in the bedroom. Send them a text and get a complimentary bottle.
Text now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the #1 testosterone brand at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, absolutely free. Text AREA to 369-369. AREA to 369-369. AREA to 369-369.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. It's a great time to buy a brand new home, and Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon is taking shape. We've got our first foundations in the ground, and our display home will be opening soon. This community features walking trails, a beautiful lake, a berry patch honoring the land's history, a private playground, and Fort Zumwalt schools. It's a fresh start in a great location. Visit McKelveyHomes.com to schedule your tour of Strawberry Farms. It's time to move up to McKelvey.
What's up, everybody? I'm Nick Costos, and watching sports isn't a hobby. It's a lifestyle, and my show is not a job. It's a passion. From the NFL playoffs to the NBA and everything in between, celebrate sports with me every day on You Better You Bet from 9 a.m. to noon Eastern. Download the Odyssey app now and listen to Westwood One Sports from anywhere. It's You Better You Bet with me, Nick Costos, live and interactive Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to noon Eastern, presented by BetMGM.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55, but unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio.
It's always good to visit with Matthew Liberatore, who is, how many spring trainings is this now for you?
I got traded over here in 19, so this is, 5 or 6 now?
And you're one of the seasoned veterans now these days. I remember our first encounter, Cardinal Caravan. It seems like an eternity ago, but now I think I see a gray hair growing here, man.
I don't know about gray hairs yet, and I don't know if I'm going to give myself the veteran title, but yeah, I have. It's been a minute. It's flown by. It's gone so quick, but happy to be entering 2026 with the Cardinals.
I was talking to Ollie Marmol earlier about you, and he is excited to watch your progress. And I guess the Zoom calls and conversations you guys had this offseason really said a lot to him about how prepared you wanted to be coming into spring training. And I think a lot of people are looking forward to watching you.
Thank you. Yeah. Your ability to prepare is one of the few things that we have the ability to control in this game. And, so I don't take that very lightly. And I do try to show up to camp as prepared as I possibly can be. And, that gives me a lot of confidence to go out and get outs and compete against, the best hitters in the world.
All right. So what did you take away from last year as a starter that you took into the offseason that you're looking forward to using in 2026?
Yeah. Obviously struggled a little bit in that second half to kind of find my footing again. But, with the increased workload coming from the pen the previous year, we kind of foresaw that as something I was going to have to deal with. With that being the case, it was still the first time I've ever really dealt with something like that. And so, I learned a lot about my body and what it's capable of and how far I can push it. And, I think the biggest takeaway for me was understanding how to deal with that again. I'm not ignorant. I don't think that I'll never feel that way again, but I feel much more confident in my ability to jump over that hurdle if it ever does come up again.
I wonder for you, having pitched as much as you did, trying to know the difference between soreness and pain and knowing how far you can actually push it. How many times did you have to go through that?
Yeah. Fortunately for me, I do recover very well. So I never dealt with any pain. And I think that's part of the reason that, the staff and the team were comfortable with me kind of pushing those limits and seeing what I was able to get to in terms of innings. And, luckily I didn't have to deal with anything that was scary last year. It's just making sure my legs stayed under me, making sure my arm was in shape, making sure my mechanics were still synced up and that I was moving well. But, it was still a lot to deal with. It was tough. Like I said before, it was something I'd never gone through before. So it was a learning curve in real time. And also trying to compete against other big leaguers, which is never a simple task, even when you feel great. So, there's a lot of learning last year. And, looking back on it, wasn't fun to go through, but I'm incredibly grateful that I experienced those things.
Well, I thought you passed the test reasonably well for a guy who had never done it before at the big league level. So you go into this offseason. It's a busy offseason for you?
Yeah, I think it's always a busy offseason. Honestly, I try to make my offseason more difficult than in season. That way, when I show up to camp, it should feel fun. Obviously, it's never easy. The task is, getting guys out at this level, which is never something I'm going to say is an easy thing to do. But in terms of my training and my workload, I really try and take the offseason serious and prepare as well as I can for the season every year.
Now, your offseason included a few other things. You had a few people following you around during the offseason. So walk me through how that unfolded.
Yeah, that was a fully immersive 2 days that the Cardinals media spent with me out in Arizona. They followed me around with cameras everywhere. We did tons of interviews. Just really gave everybody a pretty vulnerable look into what the offseason actually can look like for, guys at this level and what it takes to compete.
What did you learn from it? Because a lot of times people can be a little uncomfortable with the camera or the microphone, especially in that downtime of the year. What did you take away from it?
I thought it was super fun. They did a great job making me feel at ease. Nothing was uncomfortable. Nothing felt forced. They did a really good job of capturing what I do without changing what I do or, overstepping with what I do. So it was a great experience.
So what was the most fun thing about the experience? Because, people are going to see this everywhere during the course of 2026.
Yeah. I thought it was really cool to have the whole crew show up, early in the morning before the sun came up to capture like the cold plunge and the morning routine stuff that I do. It's never fun to jump in there, but you feel great after. And I think, again, it's just that peek behind the curtain of, what athletes at this level are doing on a daily basis to make sure we're not only healthy, but able to compete at this level. And, I think showing some of that dedication and perseverance was really cool.
I think it's fun to see this, and I'm looking forward to it because most people think, well, the off season, you just roll out of bed, have some breakfast, take a walk, and throw a little bit. But there's a lot more that goes into it these days. Maybe you have some downtime, but I hear more players say it's more of a commitment in the off season than they find during the regular season.
Yeah, we don't have a dedicated time to show up to the field and a full 9-inning game to watch every day. So your days might overall be a little bit shorter, but I think the work is actually tougher. You're not trying to maintain, you're trying to grow and develop and, push the limits a little bit. So I think physically and mentally, like we're planning all of this for ourselves. We're creating our own schedule. So I think on both sides of the ball, it's probably more tougher and takes some more commitment and dedication than the in-season stuff.
All right. So what's more fun, the TV or hanging out with the real cool radio guys?
I like both.
The right answer. Matthew Liberatore, let's have some fun this year. Watching you grow in this level is, I think, something that everybody's excited about. And all you need to do is just go up, show out there and have fun and be the guy we've known you to be as Libby, as a guy we watched grow up as a pup.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I'm definitely looking forward to the season as well.
He's Matthew Liberatore, back with more after this.
KMOX Weekend at your service, sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation.
Looking for a career change? Well, the Gelman team with eXp Realty is hiring. Their unmatched blueprint to success, real support, and proven systems help agents take their business to the next level. Level up your future and earning potential. Take the first step at thegelmanteam.com.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Nor Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
When it comes to lighting, Graybar goes beyond parts and products. We help contractors turn plans into smart designs, manage kitting and deliverables, and navigate local codes so you can stay on time and on budget. Smart, scalable, job site ready. That's not just lighting. That's like kicking your project into Graybar mode. Yep, Graybar does that.
An important message from S&L Coins. S&L Coins pays top dollar for your gold and silver coins, old currency, gold-filled jewelry, scrap gold and silver, silver plating, gold and silver bullion. Get a quote with a call to S&L at 544-3600. S&L Coins, 544-3600. Or visit S&L Coins at 9300 Gravois, just east of McKenzie. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 Saturday. Before you sell, call S&L 544-3600.
This is a message from your sponsor, Intuit TurboTax. This year, file your taxes with TurboTax and hand everything off to one of the thousands of experts who can get you filed online with 100% accuracy. Only available with TurboTax experts. Real-time updates only in the iOS mobile app.
Wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Graybar Sports on a Sunday morning. Graybar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio,
we have a chance to visit with the president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom, on this beautiful Sunday, the day before the gang all arrives here at the new complex. So, and we haven't had a chance to really get into depth about it, but you've been in other organizations. So I'll ask you, how does this compare to some of the other places you've been part of?
You know, it's so nice here just seeing all of the new things that we finally have. I know so many people who have been here for way longer than I have waited very patiently through a lot of false starts and stops for this day. And, you know, I really think you talk about comparing to other organizations. Obviously, everything in this business is relative. And the vibe here is now that, you know, we have the things that we need. And there's going to be great ways that we're going to learn to maximize this place even more over time. You know, I think it's going to hold up pretty well.
Yeah, the fact that you have so much more staff to work with and being on that same page, and just talking to Ollie the other day about the transparency that's already being shown amongst each other, where if there's such a thing of over communicating, that's okay for right now.
Yeah, I think that's almost impossible to do. You're way more likely that you're going to have the other problem of under communicating. So you should try to over communicate, and then you probably nail it just right. But, you know, the cool thing about this place, and something that I actually think is a little under discussed when people talk about the new facilities, is how I think it really is a chance to bring us more together as one organization. You know, for the first time, we have everybody on campus, so to speak, is eating in the same place. And that matters. And that creates interactions and collisions between people that we otherwise wouldn't have. Everyone's sharing one workout facility. And that, too, is going to build some of those bonds. I think it's going to be really good for our young players to see the guys in front of them in line, so to speak, and just understand, you know, what those big leaguers are doing. And also just to build connections up and down the organization. And that's really what we're trying to get to, is anything that's worth doing at the big league level, some version of that is worth doing all the way down to the Dominican Summer League. And that's what we're trying to establish.
You know, while everyone hasn't shown up yet, we'll have everybody here on Monday. Are you still that guy who's still looking around to see who's out there? I mean, you know, there's still some interesting players that are out there. And I know as you look at your roster, you want to give your guys internally a look at first, but do you still have to kind of look around?
Yeah, you have to. I mean, I think especially where our roster's at right now, particularly on the position player side, it makes sense for us to do that. But really, you should always be doing that. You don't ever want to miss an opportunity. That's one thing as we started adding some resources, some people to our pro acquisition side, I feel really strongly about is that you don't, you know, not every move is going to make sense for you, but you don't ever want somebody to get moved or somebody to be available that you didn't know about, that you didn't have all the information on, that you didn't have vetted so that you can make a good decision on a player. And we definitely are doing that right now, especially on the position player side. We have some opportunity. I think the early part of camp is actually going to give us a good chance to look at some of the more versatile players on our roster, see what they can do. You know, we talk a lot about outfield opportunity, and we do have that. But, you know, if some of our guys here can step up and seize that opportunity, maybe it opens up some possibilities for us to improve the roster in some other way. So it's really all on the table for us. We want to use these early weeks of camp very purposefully, get as much information as we can about where our guys are at, and that'll inform what we look to go out and add.
You know, one of the things that I noticed already watching the pitchers here for the last few days, this is a better pitching core today than what you ended the season with. And I'm sure as you look at some of these pitchers, who are some of the ones you've been really keen on trying to keep an eye on?
Well, we're really excited, obviously, about a lot of the new guys, but, you know, that's not to look past some of our returning players, too, who you want to see them make strides. Obviously, we've talked a lot about some of those guys that were in the rotation at the end of the year, guys like Libby, guys like McGreevy, looking to take a step forward. Really interested to see what Kyle Leahy looks like as we put some length on him, and see how his repertoire holds up as he's navigating lineups multiple times. We want to give him a chance to do that this spring because he does have a starter's repertoire. Our new guys, Fitz, Dobbins when he's ready, really interesting arsenals that we believe can start and can go through lineups multiple times. And then even beyond that, some of the guys who are not necessarily on the roster. You know, I was watching Skylar Hales throw a live BP today. This is a guy we got last year at the deadline. He was one of the players that came back to us in the Phil Maton trade. Somebody who his top end is pretty good. Like, he has big league stuff on his best day. And for us, a lot of those guys where they're at, these AA, AAA players, it's about how can we get you to your best day 8 or 9 times out of 10. Most players at that level, their best is good enough to succeed in the big leagues. The ones that make it and the ones that stick are the ones who bring that best almost every time.
You've been in this game for about 20 years now, and you've seen things change. Give me your thought process on what a team, especially pitching, what does that look like now compared to, let's say, 10 years ago, where you thought if you can get a guy to go 7 or 8 innings, you only turn it over to 2 guys in your bullpen and off we go. Now that's changed quite a bit. So from where you sit, are we trying to be more of a swing and miss organization, or are we still a pitch to contact? Where do you look at it in that situation?
Well, you'd like to get a little greedy and kind of have both. You'd like to have a pitch to contact approach in terms of aggression in the strike zone, and controlling counts is probably the most important thing in pitching. If you're ahead in a count, you can do whatever you want, and almost nobody can successfully pitch from behind. So you want to try to make them hit it, right? Force contact, but you'd also like to do that with stuff that can miss bats in the strike zone. And it is really hard to have the kind of success we want and need to have if you do not have swing and miss. In today's game, just the way hitters are able to impact the baseball, you have to be able to miss bats, but you don't want to do that at the expense of throwing strikes. You know, it's an interesting observation I think you made, where I do think there's so much more precision, so much more science that goes into what pitchers are doing. And that's led to guys who understand their delivery is probably better, so they're able to generate more velocity. You like to think you can do it safely if you do it the right way, and they're able to get to better and better pitch shapes more quickly. At the same time, we're seeing more guys going max effort to do that and maybe not being able to go as deep. I think in some ways, as much as we've learned that the right way to use a lot of pitchers is not to overexpose them, it makes the guys, top rotation guys that can do that can hold their stuff deep in games, and that can turn over lineups multiple times, that can make those in-game adjustments, give different looks. Those guys are more valuable than ever now.
I'll tell you what else seems like it's valuable. People who can hit from the right side with some punch. I mean, it seems like we've gone through a generation where every parent wanted to make his kid a left-handed hitter. So now we have this whole bucket of left-handed hitters, and now the right-handed hitters, you know, guys are signing at premiums that you would never think about, but there's just such a shortage. Where did that come from, and what do we do about it?
You know, it's funny. I was speculating that the other day, and I think that's exactly what I was speculating. I have no idea if it's true, but for so much of my career, you always favor left-handed hitters in the sense that, you know, you want the strong side of the platoon because most pitchers are right-handed, and you want these guys to have the platoon advantage. But as that starts to seep down into the minor leagues, into the way the 30 clubs are selecting players, into amateur baseball, now, like you said, we may just have a generation of parents and coaches that are training kids to hit left-handed. And so we might have a shortage of right-handed hitters. It is funny. Certainly this winter, when you look at free agency, even the trade market, you look at our needs right now, you end up looking for righties more than you look for lefties. I don't know if that ultimately changes the fact that the left-handers still are going to have that advantage more often. But if there's more of them and fewer righties, it might kind of outweigh that. So it just goes to show you never want to go so all in on one type of player that you miss out on a part of the applicant pool.
You know, one of the other things was introduced this week, the ABS, and everybody's been reacquainted with it. And even now, in talking to Ali, there's a strategy that comes with that now, and how you have to use that, which is why you obviously need more staff members as well, because somebody has to be able to think about that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this plays out. I actually think it's going to be good for baseball. I think it's going to be super entertaining for fans. We have seen this at the minor leagues. The system works. It's just that when you get to the stakes of what we have in the big leagues, you're going to see a whole other level of strategy that is going to go into this, and more attention is going to be paid on how to do this in the most optimal way, just like everything in our game that gets beaten to death and us trying to optimize, you know, everything. So that will happen with ABS. It's going to be entertaining. There's going to be some guys who are really good at it, and there's going to be some guys that, just like you might put a red light on a.
Oh, there's a few guys. Yeah.
We might have to red light some guys. We'll see how this thing plays out.
You know, that's funny you say that, because not everyone you want to have that put them in that position of power of making that decision. And I'm of the belief that the one person I probably would stay away from is the pitcher, because he's normally falling off the mound. He doesn't see where the location is when the ball goes through the strike zone in a lot of cases. So I'm going to let that be between batter and catcher.
Yeah, and the pitchers are also maybe a little biased. That is what the evidence has shown in the minor leagues, is that pitchers are not very good at this. And most teams, I think, have just told their pitchers, you can't challenge. If your catcher thinks it was a strike, let the catcher challenge. But that's what most teams, I think, are doing, is the pitchers just throttle the pitchers and leave it to the catchers and the hitters.
You ready for tomorrow where everybody shows up all ready to get on the field?
I'm pumped. It'll be fun. I mean, you have a group now that everybody's excited enough that most of our group is here already, but there's something a little bit different to that first full squad day. It's got a little more, feels like there's just a little more juice to it. So everybody will have, if we didn't have enough of a spring in our step already in this gorgeous facility, we'll have a little bit more of one.
I don't think there's any question that the wow factor will start to set into effect to a lot of players. And for some of these guys, this is their first camp. But for some of the other guys, this may be their third or fourth camp. But the wow factor, I think, will be in play unlike anything we've ever seen.
Yeah, and that'll be really cool. It's been fun for me. I got to live this on Monday when I showed up. And to see other people kind of walk in here, looking around at everything with their mouths agape and just seeing everything for the first time. It's really special for the guys who have been here that know what the place was and now see what it is. But, it's also cool to see players that come in from other organizations. I was talking to one of these guys that we acquired in the Donovan deal, and he was like, this place is amazing. We didn't have this where I was. So that makes you feel good about what we've got.
Let's have fun.
Sounds good.
I'm Dr. Colleen Bosler with the Audiology Center, and I'm talking with my associate, Dr. Adam Voss. What happens to a person's brain when they ignore their hearing loss?
There is such a strong connection between the ear and the brain. Ignoring your hearing loss can cause the brain to become lazy and the speech areas in the brain to shrink. This is partially why you can hear the words, but you cannot understand them. If a hearing loss goes untreated for too long, it may cause an irreversible change in the brain. It is incredibly important to have your hearing screened at 60 or older, or sooner if you're noticing difficulty. And the sooner someone treats their hearing loss, the better and quicker their brain will adapt to hearing sound again. Studies show that those who get hearing aids, even with a mild hearing loss, are much more successful hearing aid users as compared to those that wait longer.
So call us today to get your comprehensive hearing evaluation with one of our doctors, 636-441-7470, or visit us online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Every spring brings promises, and every spring delivers surprises. This year, the Cardinals are writing a new story, and there will be plenty of surprises. Matt Pauley is in Jupiter with inside access to Camp Cardinals.
Presented by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens and making memories. And Happy Roof. We always create happy endings.
From breakout performances to roster revelations, get reports throughout the day on the voice of the Cardinals. KMOX.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Lose the weight or stop smoking. Guaranteed only $59.99. Saturday, March 7th at the Residence Inn by Marriott, St. Louis Westport in St. Louis. Weight loss hypnosis starts at 11 a.m. Registration at 10:30 a.m. Stop smoking starts at 2 p.m. Registration 1:30 p.m.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com. Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Midwest winters take a real toll on your garage door. Let my friends at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis come out and perform their 26-point tune-up on your garage door and opener. The work is guaranteed, and it's just one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. No extra charge for evening or Saturday service. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis since 1926, 100 years. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. That's overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Save big money on your next project right now at Menards. Turn on the tap and turn up the quality with Pentair water filters. They're built tough, engineered for performance, and designed to eliminate unwanted impurities and contaminants in your water to give you peace of mind and enjoy crisper, cleaner, and safer water. Check out all our Pentair products in store. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent.
The Bernie Miklasz Report on KMOX is sponsored by Salika Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer.
Always good to have Bernie Miklasz on KMOX. And first of all, Bernie, good to hear your voice. And also, happy birthday.
Well, listen, man. So I've spent it with two people so far who are very dear to me. My wife, Kirsten, who you know well, and then you're now number two. So I'm in good. Hey, man, it's off to a great start. Kirsten and then Claibs.
Well,
I'm
good
good,
for you,
man.
man.
I'm good. Yeah.
You don't stop at the table, though. I mean, there's going to be some other ones coming by. So you're off on a good start. Let's keep the run going. All right, another spring training is here. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, not to preempt your question, but I think we're probably heading this way, maybe a little bit. Just listening to you with Chaim Bloom, it just reminded me how cool it is that in terms of just his style, and he enjoys conversations, he enjoys informing media fans. He's completely transparent, and to me, it's like must-listen radio. I mean, it's that good. And so I enjoyed your conversation. I just wanted to tell you that.
Well, I appreciate it. And I appreciate it. You're right. Chaim is a very engaging person. As we're all getting to know him, he has no agenda. He just shows up and he'll give you an answer. And if you like it, fine. If you don't, that's okay too. I like his vision, though, and just how he looks at things. But he's a very attending person when it comes to what someone is saying to him. He doesn't shoo off things, and I think he's going to be fun to have around.
I do, and I just listening to your interview, it's just reinforced. Just like every time there's an interview, whether it be talking to the broadcasters or podcasters, whomever, radio. You always learn something. And the one thing that stands out to me that I've learned more than anything is simply this. There is no detail, not one detail that Chaim Bloom and all of these incredible people he's brought in, there's not one detail that's going to escape their attention. They are on top of everything. And that's I think the Cardinals, this isn't taking a shot at any, but I think when you're starting a new era with new leadership and the DeWitts recognized they really had to do things an entirely different way, fallen behind a little bit or a lot. The fact that you have such detail-oriented people running this thing and what that's going to mean for all those players, but maybe more so even the younger players who have struggled or the prospects who have a future, but they're going to need to be at their best to help the Cardinals franchise turn things around. I like knowing that they're down there and all eyes are open and they miss nothing, especially if it's an opportunity to help a player.
I couldn't agree with you more. There's meeting after meeting after meeting, and there's a lot of just discussion, the what if factor. You're right. They don't want to leave anything unattended. And, they have the manpower and people power now to really address some of the things that maybe slipped through the wire. It wasn't because of lack of effort. I mean, this game is changing so much where you better pay attention, because if you don't, you'll be out before you know it. And I think they've put in enough safeguards to make sure they have the part and the pun. I think they've got all the bases covered.
Absolutely. I've had friends of mine, so I don't want this to be meant as criticism, but I do know that people there's people that sort of feel this way. Like I've had some good friends of mine say, well, listen, with all due respect, I think this is all really good. Don't get me wrong. But it's funny how, Whitey and Tony never needed all this technology and all this and all that and all this and all that and all this and all that. And I said, yeah, they didn't need it, but Wilson is a huge thing. Nobody in baseball was doing that stuff at that time. None. And so when you had Whitey Herzog, who was smart as anybody ever lived, Tony La Russa tied for first, same way. they were on top of everything, and they were innovative, and they were ahead of the time. When people say, well, Tony, TLR never needed all this stuff. Yeah, they're missing the point. The point is that the Cardinals were once upon a time, not that long ago, on top of the baseball world instead, in terms of innovation and being ahead of everybody with how they did things. The Cardinals unfortunately fell behind, and now they have to play catch up. So to bring Tony into this is completely irrelevant to the situation the Cardinals are in now compared to what they were in when he took over or when he was having his glory days run. Same with Whitey. It's just it was a different time in baseball. And if nowadays the Cardinals found out the hard way, man. If you don't keep up with the changing industry and all of the new things that people are doing, because teams are going to look for every advantage they can to beat you. It might be a computer, it might be technology, it might be equipment none of us have ever heard of. It might be having more coaches than you can count. Okay, if the good teams are doing that and you're way behind, well, you better catch up. And that's the lesson. It isn't what Whitey did or what Tony did. All due respect.
Bernie, you and I've been in this business for a while. I'm not sure if I've ever seen an industry, that be it baseball, change so much, let's say over the last 10 years, with technology and just approach and just strategy. And it would be fun to be around a table with Whitey and Tony and Ali, just to hear how those guys will interact and just how the game, I think, is just taking off in a direction none of us saw coming. And we've seen some teams that weren't ready for it, and they paid the price.
That's right. And what's interesting too, it's a great observation you made. And I want to add one along those lines, but what's incredible and beautiful about this game, for all the people that don't like all the changes and all the technology and modernization and overanalyzing everything, or so it seems. Whitey and Tony and Ali, if you put them together, maybe some other young managers in baseball, at the bottom line is this: when all the equipment's put away and all the charts and reports are put away and everything's put away, it still comes down to a guy stepping in a batter's box, and there's a guy on the hill, and there's a coach that sets his defense, and then somebody throws a pitch, and then this game swings into action the way it has since the late 1800s. That's the beautiful thing about this sport.
Yeah, I would agree. And while we try and do different things to enhance a person's performance, you still have to execute. I mean,
right.
that hasn't changed at all in all the years we've been playing and watching the game. And I guess now you have a better way to be able to assess, can a person execute, and can he be consistent with it? And it's a fun time to be in the baseball business. Now, I hope that we can continue this, because the term lockout is being thrown around a little bit. I think it's a little early for that, but I think baseball is at a point now with some of the rule changes and some of the young talent to have an incredible run as far as attention in this country and maybe around the world.
And it's interesting because for a long time we all talked about, boy, they're losing a generation. I mean, they're losing young fans. Boy, oh my gosh, young people don't care about baseball. Whether we give Manfred the credit or just some of the rules changes, that committee headed by Theo Epstein is, sped the game up, among other things. Baseball is, in fact, factually speaking, getting younger fans back. And that's why we should all, us old timers, you don't think like an old timer. I don't think like an old timer, but we do appreciate old times. But we also realize the world changes around us, and for us sitting around fussing and complaining about everything, that ain't going to stop the world from changing. So what's the point, right? So, but
no,
young people, younger fans like all this stuff. They're going to be the biggest fans of the ABS system. They're the biggest fans of the pitch clock. They like all this stuff. Keep the games moving. They also I'm not trying to stereotype or generalize, so I apologize. But what do young people like? Young people I can't even tell you what ages I'm talking about. What do they like? What do old people like?
They like it now.
We're on our phones.
They like it
We're
now.
on our phones, right?
Yeah.
We're playing a game. We're looking up information. We're interacting with the rest of the world. You know, there's technology is huge. Technology is not only a fascination, it's an obsession. So you tell a young person, say, well, this is what they're doing to make Jordan Walker better. This is what they're doing to Nolan Gorman. You know, they have a batting lab. They're hooking him up so they can tell how his body's moving when he swings. They have these sensors so they can realize, wait a minute, his problem is the way his body is moving. It has nothing to do with his swing. His body's not moving right, and we picked that up with these sensors, and now we can make the proper adjustment. You explain that to an old guy, it's going to be like I was saying, Whitey never needed that crap, you know. But if you explain it to this generation, they're like, that's great, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that they can do that stuff. Yeah, that's great that they can do that, right? So we all need to roll with the times a little bit. That's all I'm trying to say. I know I have, and I know you do. But I think it's
you know what? I'm having fun with it.
Right.
You know, this is far more fun than trying to learn my multiplication tables when I was a kid. You know, this is fun just listening to guys even explain it. And all of a sudden you start nodding your head, you start to get a little bit of it. And then you say to yourself, now, I can just get just a small sample size. Think about the guy who came up with the idea and was able to sell it to someone else. And now all of a sudden we've got what we call performance experts. And it's been fun to watch, and I'm looking forward to watching it grow even more.
Yeah, and I think the Cardinals, the situation they're in is a good way to educate us and everybody else. And what I mean by that, we're going to be able to see players, real human beings, and we're going to be able to see case-by-case basis the stuff they've been working with that they never had to before in place to benefit to the extent that they do now. We're going to see in real time what kind of difference it makes. Now, I'm not saying everybody's going to come out of the gate and be like a future Hall of Famer, you know, after a month, but I'm just saying guys will improve, or they'll stay the same, and we'll kind of know who they're going to be able to build around.
I agree. We'll you know what? We'll learn who the suspects are a lot quicker than the prospects.
That's right. Hey, great talking to you, man.
That'll be that. Hey, man, enjoy the birthday. Looking forward to seeing you down the road. Take care.
Okay, see you, Clay.
He's Bernie Miklasz. I'm Mike Claiborne, and we thank you for tuning in this afternoon, or this morning. Afternoon is just around the corner in your neck of the woods. We'll be back with some more reports later in the week, and, of course, Cardinals Countdown Opening Day show with Matt Pauley and myself. That'll come your way on Thursday. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week, and we thank you for listening right here on the Voice of the Cardinals and the Billikens KMOX.
Now, a St. Louis Cardinals spring training report, sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens and making memories. And by Happy Roof. We always create happy endings on the Voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
New tax